the road sign department's standard operating procedures. Goal of the department. The objective of this department is to have a staff of qualified, well-trained individuals who have a clear vision of our functions and purpose and are equipped to handle any assignment at a very high level. Mission statement: to be an effective, efficient unit within the ministry works, impacting our local communities and the Bahamas in general. Basic hierarchical structure. The road sign department was under civil design section. Department senior managers are Mr. George Hutchinson, acting director, Mr. Damian Francis, deputy director, Mr. Joy John, senior engineer, department head, Mr. Sidney Clare, chief superintendent, section head. The road sign department is presently operating under the project execution unit. The department comprises of managers and staff complement at different levels. Please note the present occupied positions: Chief Superintendent, Head of Section, Superintendent, Supervisor, Foreman, Operator, other staff at Level 1 and Level 2. Department's format. The superintendent must work together and be involved in the decision-making process. They are responsible for the day-to-day operations of the road sign department and are involved in the planning, coordinating, and delegation of works. The superintendents are accountable and is expected to supervise responsibly internally, must have good people relation skills, have an action plan to address issues and concerns affecting our local communities, stakeholders, and client agencies. They are to prepare reports and performance appraisals and other staff assessments. They are required to attend meetings and organize meetings within their area of responsibilities and among themselves. Supervisors and foremen are accountable and are also to prepare reports, performance appraisals, and staff assessment at their respective levels. The same regarding meetings also applies. Departmentally, cultivate an environment whereby we can be involved in the development and training of others, working together to help build a better, more qualified, well-trained, and equipped staff complement who are able to execute any task at a very high level. The superintendent is accountable to the head of section. The head of section is accountable to the head of department, and so on. Every member is responsible to know and are required to practice safety protocols according to the job or duties performed. This includes proper PPE, traffic management procedure, every manufacturer's safety procedures related to materials, tools, and equipment. Learn and know manufacturers' operational procedures regarding relevant equipment and tools. Ready to work with managers and colleagues at all levels, being mindful of organizational protocols regarding the same. Must be efficient and effective in the execution of our duties and to complete jobs in a timely manner. Areas of work: line striping. Responsible for the installation and maintenance of street and highway road markings. The prerequisites for persons assigned to this job: must have knowledge and an understanding of related international codes and standards as outlined in Chapter 5 of the Traffic Signs Manual on Road Markings. Demonstrate the skills necessary to perform and successfully complete works at a very high level. Execute any task or assignments relative to the installation and maintenance of street and highway road markings. The line striping team must be respectful of our supervisors, must be ready to perform our assigned duties to the best of our abilities, must be accountable for our actions, must accept responsibility for decisions made accordingly, wear PPE at all times when working, and observe all safety protocols. Be sober at all times, especially when working on the road and operating equipment. physically fit, flexible, always alert and agile, particularly when working on the road exposed to vehicular traffic. Must comprehend how to use a measuring tape and other measuring devices such as a measuring wheel and the like. Know all road marking types. Must be familiar with the different road markings requirements according to Chapter 5 of the Traffic Signs Manual, United Kingdom standards, and able to adjust when required to MUTCD standards. Know how to lay out road markings in general, including arrows, pedestrian crossings, stops, giveways, center lines, edge lines, cross-hatched configurations, chevrons configurations, parking lots, and the like. Know how to properly operate a preheater melter, line striping machines, and various types of line striping equipments and tools. Must establish good routine maintenance habits. Know how to set up traffic management cones, signs, and necessary traffic control schemes. Must be familiar with traffic management requirements as outlined in Chapter 8 of the Traffic Signs Manual, Part 1 and Part 2. Produce work at a very high standard consistently. Establish good working relationship with each other, our client agencies, stakeholders, and the general public. Sign production. Responsible for the preparation and maintenance of street and highway signs and the like. The prerequisite for persons assigned to this job must have knowledge and an understanding of relevant international codes and standards as outlined in Chapter 7 of the Traffic Signs Manual on the design of traffic signs, and develop the skills necessary to perform and successfully complete works at a very high level. Execute tasks or assignments relative to the production and maintenance of street and highway signs principally, and any other signage requested. The sign production team must be respectful of our supervisors, must be ready to perform our assigned duties to the best of our abilities, must be accountable for our actions, must accept responsibilities for the decision made accordingly, wear related PPE at all times when working, and observe all safety protocols. Be sober always, especially when working, preparing signs, and operating sign equipments. Know how to use a computer. Know how to use a sign plotter. Know how to use digital sign printers, particularly large format digital printer. Must know how to lay out signs and create designs using sign design software and enter information into the system to be processed. Must be familiar with the different sign design requirements according to Chapter 7 and Chapter 8, Part 1 of the Traffic Signs Manual, UK standards, and able to adjust when required to MUTCD standards. Must know how to apply created design to various sign sheetings or substrate. Must know how to use different sign making equipments and application tools correctly. Must know the various traffic and highway signs material. Produce work at a very high standard consistently. Establish good working relationship with each other, our client agencies, stakeholders, and the general public. Sign installation. Responsible for the installation and maintenance of street and highway signs and the like. Must have knowledge and an understanding of the required international codes and standards as outlined in Chapter 1 of the Traffic Signs Manual on Introduction, and develop the skills necessary to perform and successfully complete works at a very high level. Execute any task or assignments relative to the installation and maintenance of street and highway signs. The prerequisite for persons assigned to this job, the sign installation team, must be respectful of our supervisors, must be ready to perform designated duties to the best of our abilities, must be accountable for our actions, must accept responsibilities for the decision made accordingly, wear PPE at all times when working, and observe all safety protocols. Be sober at all times, especially when working on the road and operating equipments. Physically fit, flexible, always alert and agile, particularly when working on the road exposed to vehicular traffic. Must comprehend how to use a measuring tape and other measuring devices such as a measuring wheel and the like. Clean dirty signs. Replace damaged and faded sign that has lost its retro-reflectivity. Fix or straighten loose and leaning signs. Pick up, reinstall or remove signs on the road and the like. Highway signage when necessary. Remove obstructions such as a tree overgrowth and branches hanging or covering signs. Must be familiar with the different sign installation requirements according to Chapter 1, Introduction, Chapter 3, Regulatory, Chapter 4, Warning of the Traffic Signs Manual UK Standards, and able to adjust when required to MUTCD standards. Know how to set up traffic management cones, signs, and necessary traffic control schemes. Must know how to safely and properly use tools and equipment and practice good routine maintenance habits. Must understand the setting of signs, the placement of signs, the mounting height of signs, the orientation of signs. Produce work at a very high standard consistently. Establish good working relationship with each other, our client agencies, stakeholders, and the general public. This SOP document is subject to review annually for updates and adjustments where necessary. Please refer to the appendix for download of mentioned traffic signs manual. It's about empowerment, not subjugation.